When we don't feel lovable on the inside, we actually shut off to the frequency of love. And I know it sounds cheesy, but something happens called cognitive dissonance, where the way that you feel about yourself doesn't match the energy of what someone else is trying to give you. And whether you like it or not, this energy of not feeling lovable is felt by other people. It's felt through our mannerisms, our behavior, and potential partners may not be able to exactly explain what the feeling is, but they will feel a disconnect, which then creates the self-fulfilling prophecy. And you start to think, well, there you go. I knew that no one would want me. That's proof that I'm unlovable. And the cycle continues. What's even worse is that when we feel unlovable, nothing ever feels enough. And you probably felt that way before. You could have someone who treats you well and gives you the world. Yet on the inside, somehow it still feels like they don't love you or that nothing they do could ever be enough. Because this is such a common plaguing experience, I really wanted to create some content around this feeling of being unlovable, how to feel lovable. And stay tuned because at the end of today's episode, I have something really, really exciting to share and I just can't wait. So here are 9 important things to start doing to start feeling lovable and worthy of love right after this intro. Welcome to the Inner Child Podcast. Now with 2 million downloads, I help high achievers recover from painful relationships and childhood trauma. Let's heal together on Season 2 of the Inner Child Podcast. Hello, bestie, and welcome back to the Inner Child Podcast. I am your host, Gloria Zhang, therapist, dating coach, author. I am so glad that you guys really loved last week's episode where I got a little bit vulnerable about some of the stuff I've been working through and all about people pleasing. And today's episode is kind of related to that because a lot of people pleasers secretly feel unlovable. So I spent some time really writing out this episode and I came up with 9 things that made a huge difference in my life that allowed me to start feeling more lovable and eventually attracting my partner who is becoming my husband and all good things. Now, this word unlovable comes directly from my clients. So when we work with folks inside Soulmate who are looking to attract healthier relationships, one of the biggest challenges a lot of my clients experience, at least at the beginning, is they don't feel good enough or worthy enough to be loved. And I want to share a quick story about how that showed up for me, how feeling lovable, literally just the internal emotion of feeling lovable, led me to completely ruining the first healthy relationship I ever had. I'm breaking the poor guy's heart. So my first healthy relationship was many, many years ago when I was still in university. I was in my early 20s and I dated this guy who I met through my psychology lab, who put me on a freaking pedestal, treated me like a queen, and I had never experienced that prior to this guy. He would take this 3-hour Greyhound bus every single weekend from Toronto to London. And by the way, we met at the University of Toronto lab, and I had gone to London for grad school. And he'd take this 3-hour bus every single weekend to come see me. On my birthday, he bought us disco costumes for this 70s theme, like boat birthday party thing that he surprised me with. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. Yet it just never felt enough. I always needed more validation. I needed more texts. And it felt like the more love he gave to me, the more I demanded, to the point where I would start to get really annoyed, even angry when he would call me. I'm just remembering how this feels now. It was almost like the way he treated me was in such discord with how I felt about myself that I started treating him badly. It was a feeling of, what? There must be something wrong with you for you to love me this much. You know what I mean? Like, there must be something wrong with you for you to see me as this goddess that I didn't believe I was. And so over time, I would start sabotaging. I would throw random fits just over random, like dumb things, looking for problems, and eventually saying really awful things to this poor guy. And I admit I was awful. And at one point, I'll never forget this. It was almost midnight on a walk back to his place where we just finished arguing about something. And he just says to me, looking completely defeated, like the look of utter defeat on his face. And he said, "If all my love isn't enough for you, then what could ever be enough?" And I was gutted hearing that, because I knew it was true, that everything I ever wanted in a man was right in front of me. He didn't abuse me. He didn't treat me badly. He wanted to commit to me. And so why did that still not feel enough? And it has been a journey, because today, standing in front of you as a 33-year-old woman, I can confidently say that I do feel very lovable now, and I do feel enough. And years later, I attracted Andrew, my now hubby, right? And so I have a lot of things to say about this. And by the way, this is a very common experience with a lot of folks that we work with, where they completely sabotage a good relationship, and that becomes a catalyst for change. That becomes the motivation behind starting this work. So here are the 9 things. Number 1, you are already lovable. That's the secret. You are already lovable, but the trauma and the years of baggage are just covering it up. That is why nobody can save you from this feeling. Even in my story, because I didn't take responsibility for my own self-concept, even having the most loving people around me didn't help, because I would only push them away. You have to rescue yourself and stop blaming other people for not doing this or not doing that. It starts with you. Number 2, use stepping stone affirmations. One of the biggest problems that I see people have is they try to say to themselves, "I am lovable, I am gorgeous and perfect," right away. But if this new belief is too far away from your current self-belief, then your brain and body is going to reject it, because it feels like you're lying to yourself. Did I do an episode on this, or was that in the book? Or maybe I wrote an article. I don't know. I've talked about this before somewhere, but we'll just briefly go over this again. Instead of saying immediately, "I am lovable," right, where it feels so fake, start with a stepping stone affirmation, such as, "I'm in the process of learning that I'm more lovable than I thought." Or try something like, "I'm learning that I can be lovable to someone." That feels a lot better, doesn't it? Because it feels more truthful to where you currently are, but just enough of a stretch to get outside your comfort zone. Your nervous system actually needs time to adjust to these new beliefs. So start slowly so that it doesn't backfire. Number 3, ways to feel lovable and worthy of love. If it's too hard to love your adult self, love your child self first. That is why inner child healing is so powerful and effective, because a lot of us naturally have more empathy for children, and it's easier to love a child. So take a picture of yourself when you're little, stick it on the wall, and practice saying those loving things to your child self first, because it's still you. Number 4, the feeling will follow the action. Loving is not a feeling, because some days you don't feel like walking your dog, or you don't feel like taking your kids to the park, but you still do it, not because of what you're feeling in the immediate moment. That's because love is action and choice. Likewise, there are some days where you don't feel like hugging yourself. You don't feel like saying something nice to yourself, but try to separate the two. You can do things even if you don't feel it in this very moment, and trust that over time, the feeling follows the action. So the more you do the action of self-love, the more the emotion will follow. Number 5, ways to feel lovable. This is a weird one, but bear with me. Pretend that you are your pet. Weird, but weird is what I'm known for, if it works, right? Just like the last example, you almost want to pretend like your body is a Tamagotchi for my 90s and 80s kids, right? That your body is like a pet. It has needs, it has wants, and it is your responsibility to care for it, to bathe your body, feed your body, move your body, soothe your body, right? Notice how just stating things for what they are. I have certain nourishment needs, I have hygiene needs. Suddenly it makes it a lot less personal. And after all, isn't love just about care and love about meeting our needs? So pretend that your body is your pet. Take the baggage and the emotion out of it. Just take care of it. And if you need some help with this, Google Maslow's hierarchy of needs and see on that list, basic needs, social needs, emotional needs, what you're missing, and simply do it for yourself. Number 6, ways to feel lovable. It's your movie. I realized a while ago that I am the main star of my own story because it has only been me from my very first breath, and it will only be me until my last breath. You only think your thoughts, you only feel your emotions, and you will only live this life in your body. So really, who cares about anyone else? Honestly, when you take a break from your current life, you go into nature, take a walk, and you see how grand and majestic the trees are, the mountains are, the universe is, it really helps put into perspective that nothing really matters in a good way because it's just your life, right? Nobody else is going to be living your life but you. So why not make it a masterpiece? Why not make it an award-winning, Oscar-snatching movie? Because it's you and you at the end of the day. When I feel lost, it really helps me to remember that. Number 7, ways to feel lovable. Doing the deathbed exercise, kind of similar to the last one. If you imagine yourself on your deathbed, your very last words, your very last moments on earth, would you have rather hated yourself more and wish that you had hated yourself more in this lifetime? Or would you have wished that you loved yourself more in this lifetime? And then ask yourself why. Why did you pick one or the other? And that's going to reveal to you what matters most to you. Because we do forget that we don't have all the time in the world. We really don't, right? Life could be over today or tomorrow or 10, 50 years, but that's still not a lot of time. And so make it count. Number 8, ways to feel lovable. Use the 5 love languages with yourself. The 5 basic love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. Big surprise! These love languages don't only apply to other people, but it also applies to the way that you connect with yourself. And this is so interesting, right? So for example, if you really love physical touch, then give yourself a warm bath, right? Indulge in the sensory experience of being wrapped in warm water. Go for a massage or massage yourself. If you really connect with words of affirmation, write a journal entry, write a letter to yourself, and then read it. If you really enjoy gifts, if you really love receiving gifts, then buy yourself a gift, right? Buy yourself a treat. And you'd be surprised about how we might be using the wrong love language to actually love ourselves. So this is a really interesting one to play around with. And finally, number 9, ask better questions. Your brain will always try to answer the questions that you ask it. And so if you are constantly asking yourself, why am I so dumb? Or why am I so unlovable? It doesn't matter whether it's a valid question or not, it's going to start generating answers, which will then reaffirm the belief that you have. So instead, why not ask yourself, why am I great to be around? Why am I lovable? Like, why am I a great friend? Why would I be a great partner? And then see what sort of answers your brain starts generating then. I've got a bonus number 10 here, which is related to my fun announcement for today. So everybody has been asking me if I could offer something outside the podcast that was like super affordable, like less than a meal, maybe like the cost of a coffee or something that's still effective. And I'm so excited to share something I've been working on behind the scenes, which is my new 5-day accelerator course, literally called The Lovable Woman. And this is a 5-day course for women who feel abandoned, unappreciated, or unlovable. And it's called the Lovable Woman 5-Day Accelerator, to go from feeling like a doormat to a dream girl in 5 days. So I've spent a few months really designing this and making it really worth your while. So it's a counterintuitive approach to attracting a high quality partner into your life. And we really do this by over 5 days helping you feel lovable on the inside so that you can show up as your best self and change your relationship to the wounded masculine, right? Or men in your life who have hurt you before. Because when we reclaim our lovable energy or our femininity, we attract better people into our lives. And we can do this in a way that feels authentic and aligned with our true selves. No gimmicky text messages, no acting fake or inauthentic, none of this ick. And by the way, it's only $12, right? And if it's not working for you, you can get a full 100% refund within 180 days, no questions asked. So we cover 5 video modules, and I'm going to share with you exactly what you will get inside it. The first one is called Go From Pleaser to Princess Treatment, Why So Many Single Women Are Tired of Being Strong. Number 2, what high quality men want, how to stop attracting men who break your heart. Number 3, enchant with emotional safety. Stop sabotaging relationships with your insecurities. Become your best self. Number 4, heal your inner girl, addressing the deeper root causes of why relationships never work out for you. And number 5, love strategy in 2024. What's working, what's not working with dating apps, the year 2024 and beyond. And you want to keep up to date with this stuff. The Lovable Woman comes with a beautiful workbook and a bunch of bonuses, including meditations, texting guides, a brand new closed community. And as part of our grand opening, if you join before August 15, you will get access to a VIP group coaching session with myself and the other people, where we'll have a very small, intimate conversation, talking all things healthy dating, healthy relationships, inner child healing, and so much more. And I'm super excited. Doors will open officially on August the 12th, which is a Monday coming up. And so you only get 4 days to sign up within this period to qualify for the grand opening bonus. All right. Again, it's only $12 right now, which is like nothing. I highly recommend you getting on the wait list so that when doors open, you are the first person who will be able to get access and you don't forget about it. Go to bygloriazhang.com/waitlist or click the link in the show notes to join the waitlist for the Lovable Woman 5-Day Accelerator. All right, call to action for today. Remembering the most important point from today's episode, it's that you already are lovable. It's not about the external things, right? Of having a certain number of degrees or the way that you look. If you examine your own life, there are people in your personal circle who come from all walks of life, who look all different ways, who are lovable, who attract some really genuine people in their lives. Because when we truly feel lovable on the inside out, we're not concerned about those things anymore, and we just get to be our real selves. And when we show up as our real, genuine selves, it puts other people at ease around us, and it gives them permission to also feel their lovable, genuine self. And it gives them permission to be their authentic, genuine selves. And that's when people trust you, they feel connected to you, they feel safe around you. And as cheesy as it sounds, it all really starts on the inside. So whenever you start focusing too much on the outwardly stuff, that is a defense mechanism to not look at what's going on inside here and then hyperfixating on the external stuff instead. All right. I hope you loved these 9 points that I came up with and that you try some of these exercises yourself. I'm going to put up a little poll, a little comment box on Spotify to hear some feedback. And for everyone else, I hope I see you inside the Lovable Woman. Make sure to get on the wait list for first priority. I'm super excited to be able to create something like this for you and offer it for less than the price of lunch. It brings me great joy. And, in the future, we'll be giving out memberships as prizes for this. I think it's a really solid program on its own. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And I promise I have a lot of great stuff coming up. So next week, we have a new episode called How to Overcome Shame and Embarrassment from Your Past Dating Choices. This was a question that was submitted to me through Instagram by a lovely listener. So I'm really excited to dive into that next week. Have a beautiful day and an abundant life. Mwah. Love you all. Thanks for tuning in, bestie. I've got something for you. If you think this show deserves a 5-star review, we'll send you my free Inner Child Starter Kit as a thank you for your support, which contains exclusive wallpapers and resources for you to download. To get your kit, just upload a screenshot of your review on Apple or Spotify to my webpage, bygloriazhang.com/reviews. The link is also in the show notes. There you can also check out my healing sessions and programs at bygloriazhang.com. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, and I will meet you in the next episode. Mwah!